greatest joy you will ever find doesn't live in someone else's smile. It's already within you, waiting for you to notice. As the Buddha said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Yet in a world that constantly pushes us to stay busy, be connected, and fill every moment with noise, it's easy to forget how to hear the quiet voice of our own heart. We often believe happiness is something to be given to us through love, friendship, status, or achievement. But what happens when the crowd leaves, the applause fades, and you're left alone in your own company? For many, that silence feels uncomfortable, even frightening. But for those who understand the path of mindfulness, that same silence becomes a sacred space, a place where the deepest form of peace is born. Buddhism teaches that solitude is not emptiness. It's an open field where your thoughts can breathe, where your spirit can heal, and where your truest self can finally speak. In solitude, you're no longer shaped by the constant pull of outside opinions. You begin to see life as it really is, and yourself as you truly are. In this video, we will explore 8 transformative lessons that reveal the joy of being with yourself. These are not rules to follow blindly, but gentle invitations to rediscover your own presence. We'll learn how solitude can sharpen your clarity, deepen your self-trust, and turn what once felt like loneliness into your greatest source of inner strength. And as we begin, I invite you to pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, when was the last time I truly enjoyed my own company? If the answer feels distant, these lessons may just change the way you see yourself forever. Every journey toward peace begins with a single, often overlooked choice, deciding who and what you allow into your inner space. Before we can cultivate joy, compassion, or clarity, we must first clear the ground on which they will grow. This is where our first lesson begins. Choose solitude over empty company. In today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world, society encourages us to constantly surround ourselves with others. Social media glorifies busy social calendars, endless group photos, and the belief that being popular is a sign of a meaningful life. Yet Buddhism offers a different perspective. The quality of your company matters far more than the quantity. The wrong company can silently drain your energy, cloud your clarity, and steer you away from your inner truth. The Buddha's words remain as true today as they were centuries ago. Better to live alone than with a fool. With no companionship, one can walk the path of peace. This teaching is not about rejecting people or living in isolation. It is about being intentional, choosing relationships that nourish your spirit and letting go of those that harm it. Imagine your mind as a tranquil pond. Each interaction is like a pebble thrown into the water. The right people create ripples of kindness, understanding, and encouragement. The wrong people stir waves of negativity, gossip, and judgment, disturbing your peace. Solitude allows the water to settle, restoring its natural clarity. When you embrace solitude, you give yourself the gift of listening to your own thoughts without them being drowned out by the noise of other people's opinions. You stop living by scripts written by those who neither understand nor respect your values. Instead, you begin to see yourself clearly without distortion. There is a unique strength that blossoms in the quiet. Without the constant need to entertain or be entertained, you reclaim energy to invest in your personal growth, creative passions, and spiritual practice. This is why Buddhism sees solitude not as loneliness, but as fertile soil for awakening. Think of a candle flame. In strong winds, it flickers, unstable and vulnerable. But in still air, it burns steadily, bright and unwavering. In the same way, your inner light thrives in the calm of solitude, away from the winds of negative influence. Many fear solitude, thinking it will make them invisible or forgotten. But more often, the opposite happens. When you step away from shallow connections, you create space for deeper, more genuine relationships to form. Bonds rooted in mutual respect and shared values, not convenience or fear of being alone. Choosing solitude over empty company also builds self-trust. Without constant external feedback, you begin to rely on your own judgment. You learn to make decisions aligned with your values, not based on pleasing others. This independence is liberating. It means your happiness is no longer at the mercy of other people's moods, opinions, or approval. If you've ever left a conversation feeling drained, anxious, or diminished, you felt the cost of empty company. Solitude lifts that weight, It reminds you that you are already whole. And here's the beautiful paradox. The moment you stop chasing connection to avoid loneliness, you start attracting the kind of connection that truly nourishes your soul. So let this be the first step in your journey. Guard your inner space with the same care you would guard a sacred temple. Walk alone if you must, for it is better to journey in clarity than to be lost in a crowd. Let solitude be your teacher, your sanctuary, and your source of unshakable peace. After learning to choose solitude over meaningless company, Lesson 2, embrace stillness to truly see yourself, opens a new doorway where you not only escape the noise of the outside world, but also begin to reconnect with someone profoundly important, yourself. When the world grows quiet, you start to notice things that were once buried under the constant chatter of everyday life. The dreams you've ignored, the fears you've tried to silence, the strengths you've underestimated. This stillness is not empty. It's rich with the opportunity to see who you truly are. Spending time alone allows you to peel away the layers of other people's expectations. You are no longer performing a role, trying to please, or living under someone else's script. Instead, you become the observer of your own mind, noticing your thoughts without judgment, listening to the whispers of your own heart. In Buddhist philosophy, self-awareness is a doorway to wisdom. The more you understand your desires, strengths, and fears, the more clarity you have in choosing a life aligned with your true nature. Time alone is not isolation. It's an investment in understanding the deepest parts of yourself. You might begin with something simple, sitting quietly in the morning before the world wakes up, walking without your phone, or just breathing deeply for a few minutes. At first, your mind will resist. It will push you toward distractions, messages, tasks, endless scrolling, anything to avoid being alone with yourself. But if you stay, if you breathe through the discomfort, you'll find that silence begins to feel safe. This is where transformation happens. You may start to realize that many of the answers you've been searching for were never out there in the first place. They were inside you, waiting for you to stop and listen. The stillness becomes a mirror, reflecting not only who you are now, but also who you have the potential to become. In this space, you can see patterns, the habits that serve you and the ones that drain you. You can recognize the voices that push you forward and the ones that hold you back. And with that awareness, you can choose what to nurture and what to release. The beauty of spending time alone is that it deepens your relationship with yourself. You stop being a stranger in your own life. You begin to trust your instincts more, value your own opinion, and honor your feelings without needing outside approval. In the end, embracing stillness isn't about escaping the world. It's about returning home to a place within you that is unshaken by chaos, free from comparison, and grounded in truth. And from that place, every decision you make carries more clarity, more strength, and more peace. Moving on from the previous lesson about embracing stillness to truly see yourself, the next teaching invites you to step even deeper into self-discovery. This time, we face something many people try to avoid, the fear of being alone. In Buddhism, this fear is not an enemy to run from, but a doorway to profound growth. Loneliness often carries a heavy weight because society has taught us that being surrounded by others is the default state of happiness. The quiet moments, the empty room, the absence of company, these are painted as signs of something wrong. But what if the opposite is true? What if these spaces are not voids to be filled, but fertile ground where strength quietly takes root? When you learn to sit with yourself without rushing to fill the silence, something remarkable happens. You begin to hear the steady rhythm of your own heart, unshaped by outside voices. At first, the stillness might feel unsettling, like standing in an unfamiliar place. But slowly you realize this is where your true resilience is forged. You start to understand that your worth and your happiness are not defined by how many people stand beside you, but by how deeply you stand with yourself. Buddhism teaches that attachment to external validation is like building a house on sand. It shifts with every opinion, every change in circumstance. Overcoming the fear of loneliness is like moving your home to solid ground. You no longer rely on constant approval, praise, or attention to feel whole. Instead, your sense of peace begins to flow from within, unshaken by who stays or who leaves. Consider this. Some of the greatest transformations in history, art, and spirituality were born in solitude. Think of the Buddha meditating under the Bodhi tree, or countless thinkers who retreated into quiet to find clarity. They did not see aloneness as isolation. They saw it as sacred space. The more time you spend without external distractions, the more you strengthen your emotional muscles. It's like training for the soul. Each moment you choose to face yourself instead of running from the silence, you grow steadier, calmer, and more self-assured. You stop seeking someone else to complete you because you finally understand. You were never incomplete. And here lies the quiet gift of this lesson. When you no longer fear being alone, you are free. Free to choose relationships from love, not from need. Free to walk your own path without grasping for company that doesn't align with your spirit. Free to trust that even in the stillest moments, you are held by the strength you've built within. This is not just about enduring solitude. It's about embracing it as the place where you meet your truest self. And once you've tasted the peace that comes from within, no absence can take it away. After understanding how to turn loneliness into inner power, the next step in our journey leads us into the very heart of that stillness. Solitude is a sacred space for self-discovery. In Buddhism, solitude is not an escape from life, but a return to its essence. It is where the noise fades, the masks drop, and the true conversation with your own soul begins. When you are surrounded by constant activity, it's easy for your emotions and desires to be shaped by the world's expectations. You may start to live reactively, always responding to others instead of listening to your own inner compass. Solitude offers the opposite. It is not about isolation from the world, but about reconnecting to the deeper world within you, the one that often gets drowned out in the rush of daily life. In this quiet space, you can hear your emotions without judgment. The small anxieties, the buried dreams, the subtle joys, they all have room to breathe here. Like a still pond reflecting the sky, solitude reflects back your truth with clarity. You begin to see the patterns in your thoughts, the stories you've been telling yourself, and which ones are worth keeping. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that without self-awareness, even the most beautiful life can feel empty. Solitude is the workshop where this awareness is built. It's where you can explore your strengths, acknowledge your fears, and gently meet the parts of yourself you've neglected. Here, there is no pressure to be anyone else. You are free to be as you are, and that acceptance becomes the root of your inner freedom. Think of solitude like a clearing in a dense forest. When you step into it, you have space to lay out your map, see where you've been, and decide where you want to go. You can reorder your priorities, let go of what no longer serves you, and create intentions that align with the person you truly want to become. In my own life, some of the most important decisions have been made in moments of solitude. Not because the answers magically appeared, but because I finally had the silence to hear them. And this is perhaps the greatest gift solitude offers. It doesn't force you into action, it guides you into clarity. When you embrace solitude, you stop fearing being left out because you realize you are never truly alone. You are always in the company of your own spirit. And the more you know that spirit, the less you depend on the outside world to tell you who you are. So the next time life gives you a quiet afternoon or an empty room, don't rush to fill it. Sit with it. Let it open the door to feelings you've ignored, dreams you've postponed, and strengths you've underestimated. In that still space, you might just find the truest version of yourself, the one that has been waiting patiently for you to come home. After learning how to truly listen to yourself, there comes a moment when you may ask, if I couldn't rely on anyone else, how would I stand firm? The next lesson, self-reliance. The root of peace and progress leads us to a quiet yet enduring strength. The power that comes from taking full responsibility for your own happiness, growth, and inner peace. When you begin to trust your own voice and navigate life from within, you'll realize that true peace and progress do not depend on anyone else's approval or support. This is the essence of self-reliance in Buddhist wisdom. Not the isolation of shutting others out, but the deep responsibility for your own state of mind and heart. Self-reliance is the quiet strength that allows you to face challenges with calm and clarity. Imagine walking a difficult path without constantly looking over your shoulder for someone to guide your every step. Instead, you carry your own light, illuminating the way forward. This doesn't mean you never seek help, but it means you no longer make your happiness and stability hostage to other people's choices. In solitude, You learn to solve problems using your own insight. The more you practice this, the more you begin to trust your decisions, not because they are perfect, but because they are yours, shaped by your values and experiences. That trust in yourself is liberating. It frees you from the endless cycle of seeking permission to live as you wish. Buddhism teaches that self-reliance is a form of compassion for yourself and for others. When you stand on your own 2 feet, you stop placing the burden of your happiness on someone else's shoulders. You meet life's uncertainty with resilience, knowing that you have the inner resources to adapt, endure, and even thrive. The beauty of self-reliance is that it turns every challenge into an opportunity to strengthen your inner foundation. Each time you rise on your own, you're building a quiet confidence that no one can take away from you. And in that confidence, you discover a peace that is steady, regardless of the chaos around you. Once we've built the quiet strength of self-reliance, a natural question arises. If I can stand on my own, how can I also be my own source of joy? That is where the next lesson gently unfolds. Befriending yourself. You are enough. In Buddhist wisdom, there's a timeless truth. You are already whole, exactly as you are. Yet in a world constantly whispering that we must do more, have more, or be more to be worthy, we often forget this. Befriending yourself is about turning toward your own heart with the same kindness, patience, and forgiveness you would give to a dear friend. It begins in the quiet moments, sitting with your thoughts without judgment, allowing emotions to surface without rushing to fix or hide them. When you treat yourself with compassion, mistakes become lessons rather than evidence of failure. You start to see that your worth is not something to be earned. It's something you already carry within. This practice is not about isolation. It's about discovering that your own presence can be enough to fill your life with meaning. When you enjoy your own company, the constant hunger for external validation fades. You no longer chase approval to feel secure because your security comes from the unshakable bond you've built with yourself. Befriending yourself also transforms how you relate to others. Instead of entering relationships from a place of neediness or fear of being alone, you approach them with openness and balance. Your connections become richer because they're rooted in choice, not dependence. You're no longer seeking someone to complete you. You're sharing the fullness you already have. In the stillness of self-companionship, you begin to rediscover joys that require no audience. Reading under soft light, walking in nature, breathing deeply in the morning air. These simple acts become sacred rituals, reminding you that life's beauty often hides in the quietest corners. Buddhism teaches that when we truly accept ourselves, strengths, flaws, and all, we create a refuge within that no storm can touch. This inner sanctuary becomes your anchor in moments of uncertainty, your wellspring of peace when the world feels heavy. And from that peace, you can give love more freely because it no longer comes from a place of scarcity. So, if you've been waiting for permission to slow down and meet yourself with gentle eyes, take this as it. You are already enough. The path ahead is not about becoming someone new, but about coming home to who you've always been. After learning how to become your own best companion, the natural next step is to discover and honor what makes you truly unique. This is Lesson 7, Shine as Yourself, the power of being different. In Buddhist wisdom, every person is like a flower with its own shape, color, and fragrance. Differences are not flaws. They are gifts that make the world richer. Yet we often forget this truth when we get caught in constant comparisons with colleagues, neighbors, or the polished images we see on social media. Each comparison pulls us a little further away from our true selves. Spending time alone allows the world's noise to fade. In that quiet space, you begin to hear your inner voice more clearly, your passions, your values, and your deepest truths. You start to see which desires are genuinely yours and which are echoes of other people's expectations. Honoring your personal power doesn't mean isolating yourself or rejecting others. It means entering relationships with confidence and honesty, without wearing masks just to fit in. It means standing firm in your values even when they go against the majority, not in a rigid way, but with the flexible strength of bamboo, which bends with the wind yet never loses its roots. When you live authentically, you give others an unspoken gift, the inspiration to do the same, a genuine conversation, a small action aligned with your values. These can ignite courage in someone else's heart. And when many people shine in their own way, the community becomes more diverse, alive, and filled with compassion. You can start practicing this with small steps. Write down 3 of your strengths, recall a time when you stayed true to yourself despite pressure, or try an activity that reflects your real values. Each small act strengthens the muscle of self-confidence and self-respect. Buddhism teaches that an ocean is not made of identical drops. Its vastness and vitality come from countless unique currents blending together. In the same way, your strength lies in being yourself, not a copy of anyone else. When you honor this truth, you will no longer be easily shaken by judgment or comparison. So today, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what is unique about me that I am truly proud of? The answer is more than self-awareness. It's a step toward living with unshakable confidence and adding your own irreplaceable color to life's great canvas. When you have learned to live true to yourself and to value your differences, another gift begins to reveal itself. A quiet yet enduring strength nurtured in moments of stillness. And this is exactly the focus of Lesson 8, turning stillness into a source of renewal, where you discover how silence can heal, restore balance, and nourish the light within, allowing you to walk steadily through any storm. Many people misunderstand stillness, thinking it is an empty void that must be filled with sound, activity, or distraction. In truth, stillness is not the absence of life. It is the fertile ground where your deepest roots can grow. When the mind is no longer flooded by the relentless noise of the outside world, both your body and spirit finally have the space to heal. Like a lake that becomes clear when the wind stops, your inner waters regain clarity when you allow them to be still. Stillness is far from passive. It works quietly, restoring balance without demanding effort. In Buddhist practice, mindful stillness is like tending a hidden garden. Each breath, each pause, each moment of awareness nurtures seeds of peace that eventually grow into unshakable strength. You might not notice the change instantly, but over time, stillness reshapes how you respond to life's storms. In that quiet space, emotions have room to breathe. Instead of being swept away by them, you can observe with compassion and curiosity. This gentle awareness helps you process feelings fully rather than reacting on impulse. Anger softens, sorrow finds its lesson, and joy begins to bloom naturally. Stillness also awakens creativity. When the mind is uncluttered, new ideas appear effortlessly. Solutions that once felt out of reach often arrive in silence, just as a butterfly lands when you stop chasing it. Many breakthroughs in art, problem-solving, and self-discovery are born in these unhurried moments. But perhaps the greatest gift of stillness is the reconnection with yourself. Beneath the layers of roles, expectations, and noise, there is a steady presence that has been with you all along. Stillness is the doorway back to that place, a reminder that peace is not something you have to search for. It has always been within you, waiting for you to notice. You don't need to retreat to a mountaintop to experience this. Even a few minutes each day of conscious stillness, breathing, observing, listening, can recharge your spirit. Over time, these moments become a sanctuary you can return to anytime, a source of strength no outside force can disturb. There comes a moment in every journey when you realize you are not chasing peace anymore. You are living it. It's in the way you sip your morning tea without rushing. It's in the way you can sit alone, and instead of feeling emptiness, you feel the quiet strength holding you from within. Solitude is no longer a wall. It's a window opening to a vast and unshakable freedom. If this series has whispered anything into your heart, let it be this. Happiness is not waiting for you somewhere else, in some future day. It is breathing with you right now, in this exact moment. All you have to do is notice it. Before you leave, I'd love for you to share in the comments one truth you've discovered about yourself while being alone. Your words might be the seed of courage for someone else who needs it. And when you're ready, join me in the next video, where together we'll step even deeper into the art of living with clarity, compassion, and unshakable peace.